This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It's sponsored by Independent Bank, and every week we talk about the good things going on in the community, and we actually have someone who is outstanding in his young field with us.
Oh my gosh, the energy in the room is crackling this morning because we've got a high energy person with us and his mama.
Yes. So we've got the Hortons with us, Tara and Sebastian. And if you're not familiar with the story of Sebastian Horton, he is a very young snowmobile race driver, and he competes all over the Midwest on weekends when, obviously, the snow allows. And we wanted to have both of you on to talk about your experiences, because this is a remarkable thing for someone who is so young.
There's a lot of hardware in the studio this morning.
Yes,
Rich.
yeah.
A lot of hardware. I'm surprised that he can hold all those medals up.
Well, they came in the door, and I thought for a second we had cowbells or something that were coming through.
I thought we had Mr. T. Okay,
Right
there's a lot of hardware. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Sebastian.
Thank you.
Has it been a wild ride?
Yeah,
Is this your favorite thing to do?
Yeah, about.
So tell us what got you into it. When did you know that this was your sport?
So when I was 2, I started riding, and then when I started to drive, it got a lot better and better, and then I wanted to race, and my mom wouldn't let me for like 2 years.
Well, when did you decide that you wanted to race? How old were you when you knew I want to race?
I was like 7,
Oh my goodness. Okay.
How old are you now?
12.
Okay.
The ripe old age.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you started racing at 7. Is that right? Or at 9?
I started racing at, I think, 9.
Okay. And did you start winning right out of the gate?
Not right out of the gate. It took me a couple weekends to get used to it, and then I started winning.
Okay. Do you ever are you fearless, or do you ever get nervous out there?
I get nervous most of the time.
Is it nervous just before the gun goes off, or just before the start, or is it just the entire race? You want to win?
During the race when I can't see.
Right. Okay. Did you hear that? He can't see and he's racing.
Does that happen when you are when you're behind someone who's kicking up snow, and is that when you can't see?
Yes, and then it's hard to see when all the people are kicking up snow.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay.
You mean the fans that are around, or is it the
No,
other sleds?
The other sleds in front of me.
Okay.
I gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how far you have traveled and where these races are.
So I've traveled from like 7.5 hours to 18.5 hours.
Okay.
7.5 is like the closest race?
Yes.
Okay. So some of the states you've competed in.
I've been to Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota.
And Michigan.
And Michigan.
The cold states, Rich.
Of course, because, this is highly dependent on the weather. And I imagine you guys don't like to see that January or February thaw that inevitably happens, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever had a snowmobile race that's been canceled because it's too warm?
No.
No? Okay.
Okay. So really important when you're in the sled business, Rich, when you're into snowmobiles, the type of sled you drive is really important, isn't it, Sebastian?
I think it is.
Okay, so tell us why and tell us what you ride.
So I like Skidoo because it is easier to control for me, and then the gas tank is up out of the way.
Okay. Who knew?
I had no idea.
Okay, but isn't it true that there's some swagger behind that, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you like a certain sled, then you can back it up with information like that.
Yep.
Mom, do you get nervous?
I get so nervous, my hands shake to the point where I can't even take pictures.
Yes.
And every time his sled leaves the ground, a scream comes out of my mouth, and it's embarrassing.
Is it embarrassing for you, Sebastian?
A little bit when she's screaming and sounds like a maniac.
Well, that's your job, you see.
Tara, keep that microphone, because I have a question for just a second. As a parent who for a while did travel soccer, but yet never was any further than 60 minutes away from Cadillac, tell us about the sacrifices a parent makes
Right.
to make this happen.
So we spend the majority of winter weekends away from home. You know, so pretty much every single weekend is dedicated towards his racing. Now, because we leave home on, you know, every weekend for racing, during the week we have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night to prepare the food, to unpack, to repack, to make sure all the equipment is working properly. So basically, it takes every moment of our leisure time and every cent that we make.
We appreciate your candor on that one.
So, and we will get to how folks can support Horton Racing in just a little bit here. But Sebastian, tell us about maybe your most memorable race. Is there one that sticks out in your mind?
So it was probably when I hit my first triple, and then I ended up winning.
Wow.
Can you explain to us what a triple is for those
So-
who don't know?
What a triple is when you come off one jump, you jump over 3 bumps and then land on the other side.
And this is why Tara screams like a maniac.
That's right.
I'm scared of triples. I mean, the thought of that scares me half to death. So you're airborne.
Yes.
For how long? Approximately.
5 to 10 seconds.
I would say probably 3.
Maybe it seems longer when you're in the air.
Yeah.
3 to 7 seconds.
Okay.
And what gear do you wear for protection?
So I wear a chest protector, which has a neck brace on it, and I wear shin guards, and then I wear a back brace,
Nice.
and a helmet and goggles.
All right. That's really great to hear, isn't it, Rich?
Have you ever been hurt?
Only once, but that was when, so I hit a double, and then which is a double where you jump over a hole in the middle, and then I hit it, and then I cased it, and I woodpeckered and hit my head on the bars.
Woodpecker meaning like, ooh, ah, like over. Oh, wow. That is scary.
So this is radio. We don't have a webcam in here, but what he did is he
Truly a woodpecker.
put his head forward like a woodpecker would do.
So it's when you land kind of nose first and you hit your head on the handlebars.
So how many races into your career are we at now? How many have you run between the Michigan circuit and the Midwest circuit?
So it's probably been about, I've been racing for 3 years. This is my 4th. So it'd probably be around 30 to 40.
30 to 40 races. And you only got hurt once.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sebastian, when you're not competing, do you want to be competing? Is it
Yeah.
really?
I like to ride a lot, and it's really fun.
Okay.
When did you get on a snowmobile for the first time? Do you remember?
I don't remember that much, but all I know, I was 2, and I really liked it.
Okay.
So the
And-
family's been doing this for a long time, Tara.
Yes.
Okay, it's in your blood.
And you were telling us, Tara, beforehand that a lot of the riders that Sebastian has competed against are maybe more experienced and seasoned than he is and have ridden longer, right?
Well, correct. Like Sebastian said, he's been an extreme sports enthusiast, I think, since before he was born. And so, I've, of course, supporting his dreams, and he got on the snowmobile, and he had asked to race quads, dirt bikes, snowmobiles, and then I took him to a Michigan snowcross race at the Wexford Civic Center, and we watched it, and I think that's when he was about 7. And when I saw the smaller sleds and realized how, not so fast they are, it made me a little bit more comfortable in allowing him to race. So then he got, we were able to get him a small sled without me having a heart attack.
Right.
But now he's on the full-size sled.
Oh, boy.
So you're driving the sleds that adults drive.
Yes.
So, Katy, Sebastian he's 12, and he's not an adult size yet.
I know it.
Does that make you? How does it? Do you feel like you're too small on it, or can you reach everything, or how's that work?
I can reach anything that feels good, and I can control it in the air.
Okay.
Oh, boy. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you think that is brand specific. You think it's your brand, too, that really helps, don't you?
Yeah, probably with being comfortable.
Right. Have you ridden other sleds?
Yes.
And you always go back to Skidoo.
Yeah.
Skidoo. I got to get better with that.
Skidoo.
Skidoo. Yeah. Okay. You return to that one.
Yeah.
What do your competitors race?
Arctic Cats, Polarises, and Skidoos.
Okay, so those are the 3 big ones.
Yeah.
Okay. What about sponsors? Does Skidoo know about you?
I'm not really sure yet.
They're
but
gonna.
We're using their clutching
Okay.
recommendation.
Okay. So because of your age, does there have to be a governor put on the sled, or can the...
No, there
Okay.
has to be a throttle block and then a rev limiter.
Okay.
So it can only hit a certain amount of RPMs and go half throttle.
Okay. Great. So is school, I mean, can you imagine being on the circuit, right? Now we go back to school. I mean, is it fun to be in school, or do you think I want to be out racing?
Not
I'm
really.
sure your fellow not really. I'm sure your fellow students want to talk to you about snowmobiling.
Yeah, they do a lot. When I get back, they're like, "Where were you?" And then I tell them. And then further into the year, they're just like, "What'd you get?" Because they
And
already know.
That's right. Is it hard to keep your grades up?
Some of the time when my teachers don't keep everything up to date, but
Okay.
other than that, it's pretty easy.
Okay. You're staying right with it because that's important too, isn't
Yeah.
it?
You brought with you a plaque, the 4th place plaque.
Yes.
That and that was a 4th place achievement out of how many racers?
I think around like 40 to 50.
Okay, and that meant that you were placing high in your races consistently.
Yes.
So mostly top 5s. Is that what we
Yes.
found out? Okay. So how did you get to this point where you're racing against people who maybe have more experience than you? What do you think made you a champion level racer?
What do you have that they don't?
I just think that it was my first race, and then I was in first, but then I got passed. But then it gave me a lot of motivation and confidence to keep going and not give up.
Have you won a race yet, or has it just been consistently high finishes?
I've won a heat race, but not a finals.
Okay.
In the national circuit.
Okay.
In the Michigan circuit, he's won quite a few races.
Okay.
How does it feel when you win?
It feels good just because then it gets like the pressure off
Right.
and then relieved.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a feeling that you'd like to continue to do this as you grow older?
Yes, I would like to because it's very fun.
Okay. Awesome.
Sebastian, tell us about the first time you got on the podium at nationals.
So it's just when I got on the podium, I was really excited because I got on the podium, and then my mom and all my friends came over there screaming "good job" and stuff because it was at Deadwood, South Dakota,
Right.
which was my favorite race last year.
Okay.
And that's the furthest away you've gone, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And he was interviewed by CBS Sports on the podium for his 3rd place finish in Deadwood.
Awesome. So you were in a beautiful spot, and then you placed, and you got to get up on the podium.
Yep.
Was it unlike any other feeling you've ever had?
No, it was just unbelievable.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tell me about the differences in the tracks. Are there different sizes? Are where a lap is longer than another one, and maybe some of your favorite places that you've raced?
There is a lot of different tracks because they don't want to make it like unfair for the people that don't race that much. So
Okay.
they're always different. Sometimes we race them backwards. Sometimes we do it normally, and then sometimes it's just different shapes.
So they don't want to give the racers that live there a home track advantage.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow. Mix it up.
Very interesting. Mm-hmm. Let's do this right now.
All right. We're going to go to break, and we're going to come back with more of Sebastian and Tara and competitive snowmobiling right after this.
Cadillac Unscripted, sponsored by Independent Bank. Cadillac Unscripted, segment 2, 107.9 CDY. We're talking with Sebastian and Tara Horton. Horton Racing, a young Cadillac kid who is out on the circuits and racing as hard and as fast as he can every weekend.
12-year-old superstar. So, Sebastian, tell us about your favorite track. You said you've been South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. Where was your favorite race and your favorite track?
My favorite track was probably Deadwood, South Dakota, because the area I was in, we were in this like big canyon dig out thing.
Cool.
And then the track, I just liked the way it was organized.
It was probably a beautiful view, too.
Yeah, it was.
How was the weather?
The weather was pretty good. It was like high 30s.
Okay. All right. And how'd you do with that race?
I did pretty good, and I ended up podiuming, getting third.
Nice. So is your hardware, do we have a medal from that race with you today?
Yes.
Awesome. It's a lot of necklaces. There's a lot of medals, Rich. There's a lot of recognition. This moved along quite quickly for you. You got good really fast.
Yes.
So what's the end game? I mean, do you want to go pro with this?
So that is what I'm planning. I'm just trying to work my way up and get better as I go.
Wow. Mom.
And how does Mom feel about
Exactly.
that? Yeah.
I'm just trying to be as supportive as I can and help him follow his dreams. It's just really scary.
Right? So it gets cold out there. And so we want to hear about, I mean, he's got his adrenaline going, and so is yours. Yours is, of course, a totally different type,
Sure.
probably.
Sure.
But tell us about what it's like to be on the sidelines. You are in some of the country's coldest states as a spectator. What's your coldest spot? How cold has it been? How do you handle
Okay,
that?
so fortunately, we do have some amazing winter gear.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there has been one time where that winter gear was just not sufficient. Last year when we raced in Fargo, North Dakota, I believe with the wind chill it was around negative 40 degrees, and it was so cold that even with the best gear, hand warmers, foot warmers, goggles, bomber hats, hoods, FXR gear, everything you could think of, you still could not be outside. It was so cold. The furnaces were frozen.
No.
The doors, everything, the equipment was all frozen.
And
it
they
was
didn't cancel.
They did not cancel.
I was going to say, how do you cancel a snowmobile race because it's too cold?
Well,
I see.
we're
I
still
see.
learning all of the tricks of the trade.
Okay.
I found out after Fargo there was some things that we could have done to be more prepared. So, every weekend we learned something. So it's a huge learning curve for an amateur family for sure, but we have some amazing support with other race families and pros, which is awesome.
Oh, that's great. So you can copy the homework, and they're going to
Yes.
share.
Right.
Good. Sebastian, tell us what it's like for you to prepare.
So for me to prepare, I just need to make sure my grades are up, and then I also need to make sure I have all the winter stuff packed that I need. All my stuff is ready, and that I have the snacks that I like.
Oh my
What
gosh.
are the snacks what is the snack
Yes.
preferred by Sebastian Horton?
So what I like is I like the Frito twist, barbecue twist,
Oh,
and
I'm
then
familiar
I
with
also like
those.
to get Jimmy John's a lot on the way.
Ooh,
Okay.
so good. But I mean, what a responsible way to look at things, Sebastian. He's got to keep his grades up. That's awesome.
As you were saying that, I was thinking, being involved in racing has probably taught you to make responsible adult decisions a long time before other similar teenagers have.
He's 12.
Would you say that, Tara? I mean, you're nodding your head, Tara. So, yeah, would you agree with that?
Well, I'm actually super happy that his passion is racing because it gives him the motivation that he needs to take care of those responsibilities, because now I have something I can hold over his head.
Good job, Mom.
And also the grades. So
Right.
you've been told that if anything drops below a B, mom's taking this away from you, right?
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
It's just
The
impressive.
the ultimate motivator. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me when the Michigan season begins and ends, and when the Midwest season begins and ends.
The Michigan season, it starts around December and goes to like February or March.
Mm-hmm.
And then the national circuit starts in January and goes to the end of March.
And you can compete on both, right? Because the race days aren't the same days.
No,
Right.
they plan ahead and
Okay.
work together.
That's good.
So, for those of us that are in the dark about professional snowmobiling and racing, is there a pro circuit? I mean, is there a career in this potentially for you, Sebastian?
I was hoping to.
Okay, but who's your idol? I mean, when you look at professional snowmobilers, what person is the guy that you're watching?
So I have 3 people. So when I got my 2021 snowmobile, my first big sled, I got it from Cameron Anderson, and he's brothers with Corbin Anderson. So those 2 are brothers, and then they're one of my biggest idols. And so is Elias Ischel. He is the best snowmobile rider right now. He is a championship 4 times in a row.
Oh my God.
And those guys are on the same track the same day he is. So he's mingling with pros at all of these national races.
I was going to ask that because so the junior races, the junior circuit is, and then the senior circuit happens the same day.
Yes.
Okay.
Where are these guys from?
So a lot of them are from Minnesota, and like I said, the Andersons are from Michigan, and then Elias Ischel, he is from Sweden.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so all snow-packed places, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have other physical training that you have to do, Sebastian, to be ready for this?
I just have to make sure that my legs are loosened up and that I don't break anything or keep everything in shape.
Okay.
What about what you do in the summertime?
So what I do in the summertime is I do something similar to snowmobiling. I ride quads and dirt bikes, and then kayak and camp and stuff, and BMX.
Oh my goodness. He doesn't sit still, Mom. she just
shook her head as
It's
if to say,
it's because
"I
of
wish
him
I
that
had a
I
brain."
don't need a gym membership.
She doesn't need a gym membership. Absolutely not. Oh my goodness.
So how can folks find out more about Horton Racing?
So-
You've got an online presence, I'm sure.
So my Instagram is Horton_Racing, no capitals, no spaces, and it's spelled HORTON_RACING. And then my Facebook is just Horton Racing with a capital H and a capital R, which is spelled HORTON space racing, which is RACING.
So, Sebastian, there are going to be little kids that are watching you, and they're going to see how exciting this is, and they're going to see your accomplishments. What would you tell little ones that are looking to get into competitive snowmobiling?
So what I would tell them is that it's fun, but it also costs a lot, and you need to be ready for anything.
Oh, my goodness. I'm getting the chills. Wow.
And there's a great time commitment to it, too.
Yes.
In order to be the best at what you do, you can't make it a part-time thing, right?
No, I need to make it full-time if I want to keep up with everybody else.
Right.
Do you still have time to be a kid?
Yes, I do a little bit on the weekends that it's my normal circuit.
Okay.
But other than that, I really don't have that much time other than school.
Right.
Are there weekends that, obviously there's that no man's land between, that several weeks when the snow is melting and it starts to warm up? Do you have any weekends off competitively? Like in the spring or in the fall?
In the fall and spring I do, but when it becomes winter, I don't
Right.
have time for anything else.
Right.
Mom, what would you tell other parents, Tara, whose kids say, you know what, I want to be just like Sebastian, I want to start racing sleds? What would you tell other folks?
I would tell them to start at their present skill level and give the little kid plenty of time to work up to their ability and not to jump ahead beyond skill level too fast for safety reasons.
Right.
So Sebastian, this is his first year on a full-size race sled as a 12-year-old. Kids can start riding a full-size race sled at the age of 8 or 9. So there are kids that he races with who've been on the full-size sled since the age of 8 or 9. Sebastian was on his 200, which is a miniature sled, until last year. So he had a lot of experience on a smaller sled. So he was able to gain those skills and techniques on a smaller sled. So it's much more safe as far as I'm concerned. So now that he's got that experience and that skill, he's much more comfortable and skilled on the full-size sled, which makes it much safer. So safety first, I guess, is the biggest advice that I have, is put safety first for sure.
What was the biggest difference, Sebastian, between the smaller sled and the larger sled? Maybe the biggest adjustment you had to make?
So the thing that I probably had to do the most was work on my in-air control, and then to not overjump or underjump anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Incredible.
I was learning a lot of stuff today.
I know it. We want to go for a ride sometime. He's going, I don't know.
Well, that's we can let's kind of circle back and give some information
Yes.
about maybe obviously this is an expensive This is an expensive thing for parents to be involved in,
Hey.
to have Sebastian follow your dreams. So is there any way that Horton Racing can get some support?
Well, we have had some fantastic support from family and friends and community members, which we appreciate very much. We kind of got a late start this year for a lot of different reasons, but we are working on some amazing support opportunities. So stay tuned, and we will post them on our Horton Racing Facebook page and Instagram, and possibly some posters throughout the community. So just stay tuned.
A rising star, Rich.
Young kid from
Sebastian
Cadillac,
Horton.
making it happen. Guys, thanks for coming in today. We appreciate it. Anything you want to add?
No, I'm good.
Okay, very good.
You're
Tara,
great.
anything you want to add?
Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome. Next week, more good things.
Absolutely.
Same time, same station on Cadillac Unscripted, sponsored by Independent Bank on 107.9 CDY.